please rise to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you would please remain standing. As we remember those that have lost their lives in the defense of this country, overseas, and those also that we have lost here in our community. Especially, we remember Leroy. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to join us tonight. Ask if there are any public comment on agenda items. Liaison reports. Wastewater.
Yes, I do. Wastewater volume treated for the month, 7 inches of rain, 6 million gallons, 0.65 million gallons a day. Facility met all speeds and DEC permit limitations. Pelwood Lake pump stations and Havens Road checked regularly and operating properly. 8.5 tons of digestive sludge processed through the belt filter press for disposal by SpectraServe. 40.5 cubic foot of grit screenings removed and disposed by CAN. Water plant began settling basin washdown September 17, 2014. No adverse effects on wastewater treatment facility. Power outage September 26th, Friday, 7:20 to 9 a.m. All emergency equipment operated as intended. Chief Operator John Jones toured facilities with agent of village's insurance carrier, no problems noted. Attended department head meetings September 9th and September 30th. Operator David Hurst worked with the street department blacktopping for one day. Worked with the water plant and street department personnel repairing fire hydrant on Havens Road one day. Sanitary sewer system, checked sewer mains on McCollum's Lane at plumber's request. Mains flowing freely. Marked out 25 sewer mains during the month as per UFPO notices. Cleaned, scraped, and painted influent pumps systems, monorail and walkways over gravity thickener, 3 days. Maintenance lubrications of pump motors, machinery as required. Maintenance of buildings, grounds as time allowed, 26 days. Man hours lost due to sick, vacation, personal, and compensatory leave time, 12 days. Gas consumption, 50 gallons. That's it.
Mayor's report. Just let me know when treasurer. Mayor's report. All right. Several people have approached me over the last week and a half and asking about the fact that our main goal when I ran was consolidation, and if we don't get it done in 2 years, when my term is up, what's going to happen? I said this from the beginning, but I didn't make it. I was hoping to get it done in one term. But if we don't get the consolidation finished, I want to make sure that people know, because this is what we started to do and we will finish the job. I will run again to finish the consolidation of the village and town. We are meeting tonight with the town, and I would like to thank them for coming over. We'll be meeting with them in our executive meeting to talk about police consolidation tonight. We also have people from the State Department coming down. So we are moving forward. And the key now is to make sure the public is educated as to exactly what consolidation means and the benefits that we're going to receive. And that is key. So as the survey that Charlie put out several months ago, we got a very positive response back from consolidation. But not everybody knows all the ins and outs, including me. So we're all getting more educated as we go. You want to know numbers, you want to know your taxes going down, what other services are going to happen, are we losing services? And we're going to be bringing these to you every meeting from now on, piece by piece, so it's not all given to you at once and you're lost. We also want to hear, we don't need to hear from the people that support it, because we're moving to that direction. We need to hear from the people that are against it. If you wanna drop a note off, you don't have to sign it if you feel that you can't. But if you find fault with any of the consolidation efforts, if you think that we're not doing the right thing by the village and the town, please let us know, because we want this to be the best possible thing for the entire town. Alrighty. Along those lines of communication, there's also, I was gonna hold off on this, but actually, he's here tonight, so I can say that. Last year or so, when we talked about the community block grant for the senior center, for those people that don't understand, it takes a while for this process to happen. It's already out on the street that money was awarded and that we're holding it. We're not letting anyone have it. We don't have the money, okay? That has to be clear. We have been pre-approved. That is no guarantee the money will be there, but thanks to Gina, thanks to our engineer Al Fusco, I believe you jumped on that, and Charlie Murphy, who worked on a grant, we are pre-approved for $50,000 for the senior center. That's not the $50,000 that we budgeted for the senior center of our tax dollars. So that's an additional $50,000, which will go a long way for the senior center. I'd like to thank Gina and Al and Charlie for putting that effort in, getting the $50,000. Now we only got $50,000, which allows us, normally these grants you can only apply every 2 years when you get a large sum. Because we only got $50,000, now we can apply again next year for more money. So, and we are going to. But the words on the street is, this village board squirreling away that money. We don't have the money. As soon as the money comes in, it'll go into the senior fund and will be used for the senior center. Okay. Bob just gave us a good report on the sewer. There has also been some discussion on the sewer plant and the fact that, you know, we have one of the better sewer plants in the area. We do. And Mr. Brown has said on several occasions, complimenting the crew as well as the rest of the board members, thanking them for the work they did. We do have one of the better sewer plants in the area. It's not good enough. We want the best. We want the best, and we want it for the best money. So, I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that's congratulating and thanking everyone when things go the way they should. And that's what they're doing. Our guys are doing their job, in my opinion, better than most other sewer crews are doing in other areas, because we have a better sewer plant. But we're not where we need to be. It needs to be better. Every day we got to work to make it better. And I think not only our sewer plant, but our other department heads, now that they are being challenged more, they're being given more opportunity for leadership and to do more, I see all of the department heads rising to the occasion. We are in no way there. But compared to when I came in and compared to today, I think all of our department heads have grown. And I think they're in areas, they're doing a much better job, and they know what they have to do. But I'm not throwing a party every week when I get a satisfactory report, whether it's water, DPW, or sewer. I will throw the party when we bring in an extra $100,000 of unexpected money. When we have a plant that is untouched by any of the plant, and we can get there. I believe we have the people that can do it. As far as our police, nobody sees the police except when you're getting a ticket. Nobody sees the police unless they're bothering you. Nobody sees the police. You don't see what I see, so I want to put it out there. The police are doing a lot more than you see. We have a lot of things going on in our village, and they are doing a lot more than you see. We are working on getting better at public relations. We have asked the police, and they are responding to, instead of just writing as many tickets as possible, which is their job, and you should be putting a quarter in the meter. You shouldn't get upset when you get a ticket. It's there for a reason. I know you only ran in for 5 minutes. Should have put a quarter in the meter. But now, instead of just giving as many tickets as possible, they're going into establishments. They're asking, they're letting them know, I got my ticket book out. We're gonna check the cars. They're actually grabbing the quarter from the person going out to the meter. That's community policing. Community policing is when they start to get to know the community. Have they done it in the past? Yes. But again, we're not where we need to be. Particularly when you have part-timers that are only here once a week, once every other week. They don't get out to see as many people as possible. So we're trying to get them to be more personable in the community so that they are approachable when you have a problem. If they are not approachable, please see me. I've had a couple people come to me over the last week and a half with problems that they didn't feel the police were doing their job. I can't help you if you don't contact us immediately. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month later, oh, I had this problem, it's upsetting me. Can't help you. I've got to know right then and there. If I'm not in the office, the clerks are in the office, and we can help you. And it's not about getting the police. It's about educating the police. We have a problem. Please be our friend. Help us out. They will respond. We have a good force. They will respond. But we've all got to work together. It can't be just, police gave me a ticket, then this happened, he didn't help me out. I hate the police. No. They are a community policing force. They will be there for the residents of this community. There will always be stumbling blocks. Someone will always upset someone else. Some policemen will definitely not do what you want them to do, particularly if what you're doing is illegal. Okay? And illegal could mean you didn't feed the meter. That's illegal. It's little, but it's illegal. Okay? So all I'm saying is we need to work together. The departments are improving, but we need your help. If there are issues, please contact our office immediately, because all you're going to do is help us help the police become better. That goes with DPW and sewer and water. If you had an issue with, and trust me, it's not the police, it's every department. When you run a village, every department, there's several complaints daily. But again, if it happened a month ago, you're not helping. If it happened yesterday, you're helping. Call us, tell us what the problem is, it hasn't been fixed, let me look into it. That's a community working together, and that's what we need. All right, and I told them I would be done within an hour, and I'm already getting a look, so I'm going quicker. This coming weekend, we are honoring, the seniors are honoring 2 people for Italian Man and Woman of the Year over at Nicole's. If you haven't gotten your tickets, you may want to look into that. 2 fantastic people, pillars of the community, Louis Palella and Dolly Vanzetta. 2 great people who have given their lives to this community, and their children, and their children's children, and their children's children. Louis raised the flag for us this past weekend. Italian flag is above Memorial Park. I just want to give you a quick rundown for those that couldn't make it, because it needs to be more than just a 5-minute raise the flag and move on. Last year Dolly did it, and we recognized Dolly at the meeting. Louis couldn't make the stairs. We're working on the elevator, Louis, I'm sorry. But I did want to recognize Louis with his, with what we said at the Memorial Park. Louis was born May 21st, 1915 in Walden to John and Antonetta Palella. His parents immigrated from a little town in Italy called Santa Maria a Vico, close to Naples. Louis and his 4 siblings, Eugene, Mario, Muffy, and Martha, were all raised in the area. His father was a shoemaker and then a restaurant owner here in Highland Falls. He and Antonetta ran the Paradise Restaurant and rented out rooms to people visiting West Point. Louis and his siblings helped out with all aspects of the family business venture. During the Depression, Louis was forced to begin working at a young age. He helped with his family by selling West Point pennants during the many parades that were held here in town. Then he learned plumbing as a trade with his godfather and worked in Manhattan. Louis was drafted into the Army for World War II. He served in Iceland and mainland Europe during that time. A fellow soldier friend of Louis introduced him to his sister, Naomi, who he married in 1964. Louis settled in with his wife and they started their family, having 3 girls, Maria, Louise, and Martha, while he worked as a cook at the Cadet Mess Hall in West Point. After retiring, he then went to work for the state, once again as a cook for a group home in Letchworth Village. Louis is a member of the Knights of Columbus. His proudest achievement, and everybody knows him for this, is he remains an active member of the Highland Falls Fire Department for over 60 years. To this day, Louis responds to calls and volunteers with fire departments with their fire department fundraisers. That's Louis Palella. And congratulate him and Mrs. Manzetta on the Italian People of the Year. I'll just one time, in case you're watching. All right, at this time, I'm going to cut my report. I only have 2 more things, but I'm going to cut it because I see our treasurer. And we're going to get the treasurer's report.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees. I gave everybody a copy of the report for this month. First, again, the revenue and expense control reports are available for everybody to review. As I mentioned last month, because of some of these unforeseen expenses that we've been having to deal with, we really need to take a hard look at spending for the rest of the year. If I just add the repair of the fire truck, the demolition of the building, the payment of the arrears for the police department, some other items that have popped up in recent times, we're getting close to about $200,000 in expenses that are above budget. And it's going to really take yeoman's effort on the part of the board to curtail spending the rest of the year to try to make up for some of that. Otherwise, you'll be touching into fund balance or you'll be touching into borrowing money. I understand that all of the things that the board had to do had to haves, but the realities are we do have some stress financially because of these unexpected expenses. So I just want to remind the board that it's something that probably needs further discussion and maybe some prioritization up into spending freezes for certain areas. Okay. Audit preps in progress right now for the auditors. Obviously, the AUD was filed last month, and you'll have before you the engagement letter with Nugent and Hausler. I support appointing them as our auditors for this year. Their rates have been held steady the past couple of years, so it's and they've done work that everybody, I think, has been satisfied with. Water fund discussion and the billing cycles. I did get a chance to speak with the mayor on a couple occasions. We did try to see if we could get a special meeting, but because of time schedules and everything, I understand it was difficult to do. But I do have a recommendation based on a lot of information that's out there. One of the things is, I think it needs to be well understood that the village board has had to undertake approximately $1 million in municipal debt for the water department. Now, for whatever reasons they are, and we can debate those as to should this have happened 5 years ago? Is it all in your lap now? Whatever. The point is you have that debt, and 2/3 of the water usage comes from village residents and 1/3 comes from town residents. And I think that all of the costs involved with the infrastructure repairs and upgrades should be borne by all users. So there needs to probably be some further discussions about what proportions should be contributed by the different users. But on a rate situation, we ran some numbers, and my recommendation is to leave the base rate alone, leave it at 88, or 80, I'm trying to remember what it was. But the problem with lowering it is that it appears that it's not going to touch as many of the intended residents that maybe the original justification was. And the hit on the financial revenues is to a point that it would offset any substantial increase in the rates. So there probably should be a holding off on lowering of the rates, even though we do have some of the higher base rates in the county. As far as the per 1,000 gallon rate, my recommendation is to go to 471 per 1,000 gallons. That will net from village-only sources of about $33,000 and approximately $17,000 to $20,000 from town sources for their usage, which will give you a net $50,000 in additional revenue for the water department. Again, you've added an additional $95,000 a year in bond payments. You're going to need to supplement some of that, and you're going to need to get it from somewhere. Now, you will have some increased water usage, but you aren't going to have enough to make up for some of the debt burden that's had to have been picked up by the work that had been done. So those are my recommendations. There is some stuff that we should discuss as far as water agreements, and that's because it's contractual. It's probably something we should discuss under executive session. So that's that. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer anything on water. But I had a couple sessions with the mayor. We broke down some numbers, and that's the recommendation at this point.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
No, we finished.
Yep.
Okay, and just two last things. Procurement policy, I didn't get any input on that, so I'm going to go forward with what I have. I'll incorporate a couple amended parts of the procurement policy from about 6 or 8 years ago. Largely, it's going to just make sure that the capital requirements for bidding and for getting quotes is in line with the state requirements. Okay, and then with the last item on budget considerations, I would like us to, in some of our conversation in relation to unforeseen expenses, we probably should start thinking about, for budgetary purposes for next year, that we'll need to plus up some items that, like certs and contingency funds and so on, because although, like, if you look at the demolition of the building, it's the right thing to do, it's long overdue, but it costs a tremendous amount of money that's now going to be reassessed and probably will be gained through foreclosure, but that could take a while. Okay, so those are just things that you need to just be concerned about.
Do you have any idea how long it takes the county to make you whole on those matters?
Usually a year.
Yeah, normally on that it's in the next year's levy.
Okay.
But like when it comes to scenarios like tax foreclosures and so on, there are some other factors involved. So we'd have to talk to the village attorney on some of that. But you do bear the burden of the front end. You'll get it back, but it's still a cost that you have to factor in.
I mean, we are going to send the bill to the bank. They may just want to just pay right away. No, that's not going to happen.
Do you have a special relationship with the president of the bank, or,
We are setting aside, one thing we're not going to do with that is we have more buildings that need addressing. So what we're going to hopefully do is we're looking to take that money when it does come back and not put it back in the general fund, but put it in a fund for that purpose, so that we're not continuously taking from taxpayer dollars. We're just flipping that money for the next building that needs to be dealt with, or the other 6 to 8 properties that we're dealing with right now under the new law that we passed, where when the grass is getting this high, the building inspector now has more teeth to go out and have these residents clean up their yards. But that means that we're gonna go in and again, front the money up front and get it back when the taxes come in. But it is something that has to be done. We did, because of Ed being very cautious, we did slow down the movement on the property on Mearns till next year, because we don't have it in the budget to do 2 in 1 year to front end that money. But we are still on top of 2 or 3 buildings in the village that need to be dealt with. When we have the proper money, we can deal with them more expeditiously. But right now, it's just planning out, so we're not pulling from other areas. And I do have to thank Ed, because he's calling me on a daily, just very concerned about spending. And I really like the fact that, there is that concern, there is that watchdog that's saying, not just that, he's looking at $5, he's looking at $20, he's looking at $500,000. So he's looking at all areas, and I do appreciate the time you're taking to watch the budget.
Sure. Last thing I just want to mention is, based on the water numbers and so on, with the discussion about the agreements and things that are in existence, I would maybe recommend holding off on deciding on the number until maybe we've had a chance to discuss the backside of the agreements and percentages related to that. Because I think they're relevant in the whole discussion, if you're inclined. My recommendation would be to discuss that a little bit before you make the final decision. Okay? Okay, thank you.
All right, just to finish up real quick, Halloween is upon us. This will be the last meeting for Halloween. We have 3 events scheduled, possibly a 4th. Right now, this Friday is the Holy Angels of the Hudson Valley Halloween party at Sacred Heart. We hope everyone can make it out. It's a great event. It's a fundraiser for the school, but it's a lot of fun for all family members. And so please, everyone come out and have a great time for Halloween. Next week, Halloween weekend, there's on Halloween, there's a Halloween parade, and they will begin at Memorial Park, take it up to Lot 2. At Lot 2 will be the trunk or treat. Last year was the first year of a trunk or treat, very successful. This year, they're getting a lot of talk about a great event. So if you have not, whether you're a business, whether you're a family, whether you're just an individual, you don't even have to have a trunk. You can just come get a table. Trunk or treat, for those that don't know, it started out in the Midwest where the homes were very far apart. So friends and families and everyone would get together, and they drive to a field, circle their cars into a big circle, open up the trunks, and have all the candy there, and the kids would trick or treat right there. So it's safer, you got to a lot more places. Here we don't have that, but it is a great event, and it's a great community event because it brings everyone together for a couple of hours to socialize and be together as a community.
What time does the parade start?
The parade starts at 4. Looking back at the trusty information desk. 1 second. The event starts the parade at 4:15 at Memorial Park. And the trunk or treat 4:30 to 6:30. Parade only takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? I'd also like to, and then we have a possible final, which we're going to come to our new business. So we'll do that. I have to thank Assemblyman Skoufis and his staff. They haven't been uncovered yet, but at the top of Mountain Avenue, for those that haven't seen them, there are new stop signs. And I want to thank Dr. Nawaz from Main Street. He is the one that contacted Supervisor Livesey and myself because he didn't know who could help. And it is in the town. Both Supervisor Livesey and myself reached out to our representatives, and it's my understanding that Assemblyman Skoufis did a lot of work, but not just Assemblyman Skoufis, Lori Tortel, who is one of our own, and it was a great asset here in the community. I think it's going to be very important, and I think it's going to help. There are a lot of accidents top Mountain Avenue. I think that it could make a big difference. So I want to thank him for his efforts. I also want to let you know that we are meeting with Senator Larkin tomorrow with Patterns for Progress, Orange County Tourism, and several other groups to talk about revitalization of Main Street. Senator Maloney will also be here, not himself, but his staff will also be attending, I believe. So hopefully we'll let you know next meeting about the progress there. We do have the Children's General Network, John and Pat's Pantry is coming up. So anyone who wants to help out with that, we have some good volunteers already. We're always looking for more. This year we are going to contact the Orange County Food Distribution Center to start working on going countywide. We wanted to do it this year, we just couldn't get to it. This is the 10th anniversary of the drive, and we hope everybody participates. Also, coming to the future, I was contacted by a couple of members from the center that are possibly looking at help organizing the toy drive for the holiday seasons. I thought that was excellent because though this is a great drop-off point, I would rather have a group like the center be the ones that actually be organizing the event. So we are going to remain a drop-off point because we're open all week, 8:30 to 4, and they'll be looking for other drop-off points as well. And I thank them for their participation. The center is going very well, and but don't let me fool you, they need money. Bottom line, they need volunteers. But I think it's going very well compared to what they thought it was gonna be. They're doing more, they're getting more done, they're reaching out to people. This is gonna be a very key piece to help our village. So if you have extra cash, now's the time, stop by the center. If you don't, you can, the village can put you in touch with who to talk to from the center so that you can get them the needed funds. If you have time to volunteer, please do that as well. I just have a couple of things here. United Methodist Church of the Highlands is having their Election Day roast beef dinner. That's Tuesday, November 4th. Seating's at 5 and 6:30. Takeouts from 4 to 5. That's at the United Methodist Church, and that's the Election Day dinner. There's also a free lunch at the United Methodist Church. Free lunch, October 25th, 11:30 to 1. Pasta and meatballs. These are better. And, it's a little difficult to read, but I'm gonna go for it. At the center, Friday, October 24th, 7 to 9. There's a breast cancer awareness. Orange County Showtime presents an all pink affair. Oh no, this is the St. Mark's Baptist Church, excuse me. Oh no, this includes it, this is at the center. St. Mark's Baptist Church will be there, a solo artist, and a special guest speaker, two-time breast cancer survivor and author, Andrea Main. And they'll be talking about her book. And that's at the center, Friday, October 24th, 7 to 9, for breast cancer awareness. They are also hosting a walk. Representatives from the center are hosting a breast cancer walk. That'll be coming up. Please check the paper for information on that. There's also a small article in the back of other different activities happening at the center. Don't forget the fire department is still doing smoke detectors. Whether you need them or not, call them. They will let you know. You may think that yours are working. If you haven't tested them properly, please reach out to them. Okay, O'Neill High School students are putting on The Crucible, written by Arthur Miller, on Friday and Saturday, November 14th and 15th, 7 p.m., and November 16th at 4 p.m. And the farmer's market has a few more weeks. That's on Sunday. They're going to November 2nd, from 9 to 2. Farmer's market right out in front of Sacred Heart. Okay, just a few things. Moving on.
Sir? Can I just ask a question in regards to your beautification project that you might be discussing? Is that a town thing or just a specifically designed for Main Street type of event?
It's not beautification, it's Main Street revitalization.
Revitalization, yes.
That's for business revitalization. It's mainly for Main Street. We will, I have no problem breaking out, but we need a lot of work right
Well, I
now.
specifically ask actually for a lot of the poles on Mountain Avenue. There's a lot of safety issues involved with them. If somebody could get on O&R to straighten them up, there's grounds that are sticking out that are actually dangerous. If a kid were to come by close enough to one of those.
Okay, that's an actual excellent point. This is exactly what we need though. And I hate to ask for additional work on the village's part. But when you see these things and when you have these things, please, it's not good enough to stop me or to stop one of the town representatives or to stop one of the police or the DPW guys in the street and go, hey, could you go fix that? Because by the time I get to Village Hall, I've already forgotten.
Or if you can get a poll number, Sean.
I've actually
We need-
reported them several times
No, what I'm
already
saying
to
is we need it in
Orgerock.
writing.
If you can give me a poll number, I can make a call.
Okay, I'll get you a few of them actually. I've already reported them and they've said they'd look into it and it's been months and
Yeah,
it's just getting worse in some
They all have poll
situations.
numbers on it, and they really gonna say, where, you know, I need a poll number before, as you make that call.
All right, I'll get them for you as well.
If it's a guide wire or anything, because I can, at that point, I can call Representative.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good one that's sticking out a good 2 feet. I mean, where a kid comes by with a handlebar or something like that, it's just a disaster.
Is it
And it's so
guide wire
close.
Or ground wire?
It looks like it's the grounding wire that's going down into the top of the pole that goes up to it's encased, so it's probably the main grounding wire that they're using on the pole. But there's an incredible amount of slack, and you know how thick that wire is. Anybody hooks onto that, they're gonna get hurt. And it's right next to the street, right where I live up a mountain,
I'll
so.
give you my number at the end of the meeting.
Excellent.
If you give me a poll number, or even just fax it to me or text it to me, whatever, I'll resolve that.
You got it.
I'll try to anyway, I don't know how we respond.
As well as
Yeah.
walled up constantly. Well, I
If
have it
you
there.
can't get a hold of Bob, also drop it off to the village. This way we have it, we can put it in Bob's mailbox, he has it. But the key here is, please, take a couple extra minutes. We need things in writing, because there's been a lot of things that have come to us that are not taken care of, because when we get into the office, then there's 20 more things right on our desk. So unless we get it in writing, or if you're stopping us, it's written down, that's key. And it's exactly what we need to make the village better. People stepping up, people pointing things out, but it's gotta get to us, and writing is what's gonna be key. Thank you. Right. The Halloween haunt, for discussion, if you could give us where you're at, come on up.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the board. I dropped off a summary that I had somebody made up. I don't know if you guys have a copy of it.
We do?
I've actually gotten some really good support and some very influential and, very great people started the community here, people that are planners and event planners. As much as my big idea, I'd like to have a lot of things done, realistic is the time. So we've actually eliminated it down to 3 events. We have all next year to plan, as everybody said, so I can make it super duper next year, but for this year, we're gonna concentrate on 3 events. From the opening, the way they summarized it is basically, from George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead to AMC's hit series, The Walking Dead, America's obsession with zombies has become a cult phenomenon that just won't die. On October 12th, this past Sunday, the premiere of The Walking Dead Season 5 broke record cables of 17.3 million viewers. And major cities all over the world have hosted successfully large-scale zombie walks. The Roe Park Rising is what we're going to call it, is a zombie-themed alternative to the traditional haunted house, designed to provide an exciting Halloween event for village residents at this point, ages 13 and up. As I said, we have a whole year for the little kids to plan for next year and to make it that big. The 3 events that I have in mark would be, probably from about 6 to 9. I'd be having from 6 o'clock the opening ceremony, which would include thanking whatever people contribute or whatever needing to be done and announcing it. 6:15, we're going to be coordinating with the kids and most of the actors that we have volunteers for into a thriller type flash mob, all coordinated dance kind of thing. And then there's going to be a costume contest at 6:30 under pavilion area, which not all the actors will be performing. Because at 7 o'clock, I'm looking to, as I said, do this little haunt area with about, I would say, a third of the lake, from starting the pool area to maybe over in the other side of the Little League field. Due to the fact of the amount of people that I have over 25 signed committed actors and volunteers for this. I dropped off copies of the town members that I've gotten signatures for in support of this idea to even have it in the first place. That whether they're going to be contributors or not, people are looking to support this idea, but unfortunately it hasn't been approved, so I can't commit someone's money to an event that's not existing at this point. Right now, I have pledged over $200, and that's just pledged if this event is take off, and that's with no fundraising whatsoever that's been done. And I have over 25 signed volunteers that are committed to this event, should it be approved. from
Okay,
the,
coming down to what we had asked for
Right.
last meeting.
right.
Insurance.
Insurance. I've spoken with the Chamber of Commerce. They have no problem sponsoring the event as long as I'm approved tonight, and I speak with him tomorrow. I'm supposed to attend their meeting tomorrow. He told me there should be no problem with them approving it. They're actually even looking to go a step further and help me plan and volunteer and fundraise, which is not what I asked them for, but it's something that can be done if they want. Exactly. I only have a week to do this now from Saturday. I don't see it being a problem with the people that are just automatically volunteering. But as far as the insurance, yes, that's been taken care of. As far as your safety issues.
Just so you know, it's not taken care of. So we have it.
It's all taken care. No, I understand. It's pledged.
Okay.
Let's say it's pledged. Just along as well as the funds. Some of the funds, obviously, right now are pledged. I haven't received any money for these, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I do have money pledged, and I do have committed over 25 actors and performers for things, as well as support from a lot of the community businesses for this. I mean, as big as I wanted to make it, like you said, we have a whole year to plan that one, but if we can concentrate on these three things, I think it could be something that can bring a great deal to the community.
And you brought it down to just one night.
Yes, I brought it down to just one night, which would be Saturday, so it doesn't conflict with nothing that happens to go on this year, because as you see, time is a crunch, and if I could just show the potential for something like this on a one-night event, it's actually from 7 to 9, that's only, basically 2 hours, committed to the walk type of thing. If they want to stay a little longer, we can play it by ear or what we're allowed. But that's basically what's summarized up, and I haven't put together a full committee, but I've got some very, very good people that are looking to get on the committee, such as, and I must say, Angela from First Navy Federal. She's very good at event planning, and she's, basically helped me out putting this in paper, type of thing. I do have a couple of requests if it is approved, or should I just ask you about those now? Because
You have a request from us?
well, well, the things I would require, if approved from this meeting, due to the fact of the incredible success for the center and them having a lot of events and things like that and drug planning, which is really great and things like that, I cannot use them for the next week for a meeting, so I would ask for a possible meeting place to have a second meeting, because I won't be able to get that place for another week. And obviously, time is of the essence. The other ask I would ask is to have the bathrooms open, as well as access to the rec office for my makeup artists.
I think it's important that you contact Kevin Hurst as far as, you're gonna need him anyway.
I spoke with Kevin actually today because I spoke with him about the setup. What I happen to be proposing to him are paths and walkways that I'm going to block off with hay bales. These are being donated to this event, as many hay bales as I need.
Paths?
Well, stopping away from anything. They plan that.
We're staying outside.
Yes, outside the lake, but I want to maybe split up, put a little thing in the center to make one go this way, one go that way, something for a performer to possibly, hide behind. Nothing like, only for visual effects, nothing to guide anybody in any direction. I was looking for that, and I was also told, and as much as there's planned the three things, that we should have some kind of food there. Now, I was asking about what the requirements would be to have any kind of, vendor, small table, whether it's Country Girl Cafe with cookies. But I was also possibly thinking of opening up the concession stand at the Little League field and selling hot dogs and hamburgers to raise money for this committee for next year.
Have you talked to?
Well, that's why I'm bringing it before you now to
We
know
have
who to
nothing to
talk.
do with Little League.
Okay, that I can look into.
I can also tell you that we can't let you use the
Rec office.
rec office because that would make you responsible for anything broken in there, and we don't wanna have that. If you need something, an area cordoned off for your people, I would suggest some kind of a curtain thing utilizing the pavilion.
Oh, okay.
But, you can't, the bathrooms are the only thing at this point that if you had an event that we can offer you there. The board wants to encourage as many of these events as possible. We really feel this could be something, as you do, this could be something that is very good for the community, particularly for those older children that don't have, that don't benefit from the trunk or treat. We're just very concerned about the possibilities that could happen. It's not like a lot of events, it's at night, it's in a non-lit area. It's not, it's very dark, on the lake side. On the actual park side, it's decently lit, but the lake side's very dark. I have to say that you're gonna have to set, if it's approved, you'll have to set something up, there will be no walking in the lake area.
Right.
Because it's dangerous. Even during the day, it's dangerous. That's an area that Al is taking on, hopefully within the next year. We're gonna have a major renovation of Roe Park, particularly the lake area. But right now, not so much.
Understandable. That's also what I wanted to ask, because that's also been compromised, so I'd like to have it in the street. I would actually like to close that part of the lake and the street for those hours, to incoming traffic. Obviously, the only just for temporary blockades, but obviously leaving open the one entrance for any kind of, obviously in or out. I don't wanna work this whole thing out now, because we have to vote, but Ken, are we able to block off that road, around Roe Park? I can't approve From
blocking
here
off the road.
to there.
The only thing I can see
Just
is
that part.
right by the apartment complex on the side, portion them back on the Roe Park.
Well, I would have my volunteers. I'd like to have that,
That was on the
have
other
that
side of
eliminated.
access through Merman's. So that's not a big deal. So,
So if that is an issue, and I mean, obviously, that's what this whole plan is about, to be honest with you. The park is a perfect location for it. It's been cordoned off in the past for such events like the 4th of July. I do propose that you second look into this, because if this event, isn't allowed, then we'll never know how big it can get. And it can, like I said, this is a perfect location for it, not to mention the security.
it's only the
thing.
residents that were
But I
concerned
have
about.
authorization, the signatures of the
No,
residents.
no,
Okay.
that's not authorization.
All right.
That just means that they've signed that they have supported the program.
Right.
But you know what, the night of Halloween, when they can't get to their house, it's gonna be a different story. Ken?
But we just don't have personnel to put there either to make sure that nobody egresses into that area. It's gonna be dark, it's gonna be a lot of people. You need officers there, and right now, we just don't have manpower to put them there.
Rick? That's the one thing that we're gonna have to, depending on the board's decision, the actual, where you're gonna do it, has gotta be dealt with, because, again, our biggest fear is moving forward with this. Well, not only just the what if we do it, and you run into a serious problem, it's not happening, ever. But if you already scaled it down, you're gonna try something, it goes off well, then there's hope for next year, bring it. We're just, very concerned about the late night, the area. You wouldn't be able to pull it off in Roe Park?
That's something that hasn't been brought up, I can't answer that right now. I mean, to be honest with you, this whole event was done on the setup of the great, location for it to be Roe Park, and the type of setup that it would be. That was, that, I'm not saying it can't be at another location, but, this whole idea was based on how many times I've walked around Roe Park as exercise and seen how good it could be. And I don't think I would be able to actually, I'm not saying I can't, but with time constituents to find another place that's just as sufficient or that'll work as good for the theme, because anybody who goes up and walks around, it isn't completely dark, but, it is limited light in some locations, which, does make it actually perfect, but I haven't thought about that, to be honest with you.
All right, this is what I'm gonna ask, because Ken brought up an excellent point. The problem is, it's Halloween. We actually do have additional manpower,
Well, it's
but it's Halloween.
November 1st, actually, Saturday, November 1st.
Oh, it's Saturday?
It's
And
after.
then we don't have additional manpower on the day. But I do know that Halloween, and they'll be tapped. But I thought it was still on Halloween, it's on the next day. So we don't have, we need the proof of insurance, one. You need to help us with the layout. You're gonna have to guarantee us, we're gonna need names. You just can't say,
Oh,
these
absolutely.
guys are gonna help us. They've gotta log in. If that doesn't happen, you're not gonna be able to do this next year. we want it to happen. We're just concerned about people, the participants.
No, I definitely that I understand.
And if you're raising money, and you feel like raising money for extra security, that would be beneficial to your event.
Would hired security be sufficient for
Yes.
obtaining what I want in the park? I don't see that being a problem.
That would be very helpful.
I don't see that being a problem.
And lighting.
I can take care of it.
Where your security people are, or where certain areas around the lake, have to be lit up. You can't leave it unlit with all these people walking around. Okay, you aren't going to have the access to the whole area.
Right,
I'll tell you that right now.
right.
We're gonna cut you off to a smaller spot, but we'll work with you.
Are you actually aware of the area I'm
I
thinking of?
am aware of the
I
area,
don't know if I paid it out to you. I don't know about the whole
Um,
area.
but it's gonna have to be maintained to a very small spot. But those, security and the insurance, and the fact that you're going to do that is the only way I can even,
What kind of security force would be requested? I mean, just so I have these
We'll
numbers?
talk about that, we'll talk about
Okay.
that afterwards, we have to
Okay.
keep moving on, so,
Okay.
on, pending the insurance, additional security,
He's gonna coordinate with Kevin, too.
and you gotta coordinate with our, the head of
All
DPW.
right.
And you've already talked to the ambulance corps to have.
Yes, I've actually spoken with Marty, which is going to be running it that weekend because Bill's going to be actually on a vacation. So she doesn't see a problem with the minimal being a small setup first aid location. If it winds up being something that turns out to be a little bit larger, they don't see a problem with bringing a rig up there for the location either. So, I mean, as far as that
Here's
goes.
the thing, you have your meeting tomorrow, you have to have the insurance to us by Wednesday.
Okay,
Okay, the insurance is by Wednesday, we will help you plan for next year,
okay.
okay?
Okay.
Only because we have to set our people, and we have to be ready for this.
Now, should I bring this all to you Wednesday, where we can discuss about whether we can go for it this year?
It's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Up,
Thank
up.
you very
Okay, you can sit down, we haven't, just so you know, it's not.
Is there any question, any more questions?
No, I hope
Okay.
it all works out, Sean.
Thank you, I hope so too. Took a lot of work to do.
All bet.
Moving on to new business. We'll start with the Halloween point. Pending insurance, security force that Sean and I will talk about Wednesday and coordinate with Mr. Hurst. Do I have a motion to approve this event?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? So,
Thank you.
I'm just really cautious, I just really.
I understand you're cautious and I'll make you proud, I promise.
I'd love to see it.
I'll make you all proud, I
We
promise.
do need to see a ground plan and the list of the actual volunteers and what their assignments.
I've got brains on my committee, I'll make you all promise. All happy.
I thought they were
Good to go, good to go.
zombies.
Good to go.
Thank you.
I need a motion to approve the minutes written in the regular meeting October 7th, 2014.
So-
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I have a request from the wastewater treatment plant reimbursement required certificate renewal fees for the sewer operators. The reason why this was tabled, we didn't, I didn't feel it was presented properly after talking to Johnny Jones and Joe Murphy. They explained that this isn't something that we're just gonna take over because they don't wanna pay anymore. They've never had to pay this fee. It was always paid by DEC. DEC has now put it on all the operators to pay themselves. We do pay for people to get their operating licenses and to be educated, so it falls in that realm. So at this time, I have no problem putting it up for a vote and asking if I have an approval for, to pay the fees.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
I need a approval of the 2014-2015 budget amendment. Whereas the insurance recoveries of $1,475 have been received from USAA Casualty Insurance Company, and whereas this revenue has been designated to offset the cost of repairs to the Fence Grove Park, now therefore be it resolved that due to the unanticipated revenue from the insurance company, the Board of Trustees approve an amendment to increase the appropriation budget A7110.0400 Parks contractual from $1,475 to the revenue code A2680 insurance recoveries for $1,475 for the fiscal year of 2014-2015. Do I have a motion?
No.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Roll call, trustee Mallon,
Aye.
trustee Murphy,
Aye.
Mayor Flynn.
Aye. I need an approval to extend the St. John's Zion sausage sale in Municipal Lot 2 for October 11th, November 1st, and November 22nd, the Army home games.
Well, November 1st and November 22nd, you have that motion.
Okay, I'll take it.
And we have insurance in place?
But insurance is already, has always been in place.
Okay.
They didn't realize they needed to do the extra paperwork. Do I have a second?
motion.
I have a second?
Oh, I thought I moved it.
Even better.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have a request to reserve 20 parking spaces in Missile Lot for Friends of the Library for their bazaar on November 15th, 2014, May 45 at 5 p.m.
Very important.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
We do.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have a request to approve change order for $200 increasing from $3,050 to $3,250 for the painting of the senior center by Patrick Kelly. Do I have a motion?
You do, good. If you had to
Yep.
put a few
Yeah.
extra coats on it.
For those people that ever saw the colors in there,
you were
we got off cheap.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I need a motion to approve the estimate for Eagle Fire and Safety for $427 for fire extinguishers for the senior center.
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to accept the event for the Halloween parade and trunk or treat pending insurance for Halloween day. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Personnel requests.
Going back, did you skip Nugent Hauser?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
I didn't. I need a motion to authorize me to sign the engagement letter with Nugent and Hauser to perform an audit for the year ending May 31st, 2014. Thank you.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Okay. I need a motion to approve the appointment of a part-time account clerk, Zenelia Prats, at $12 an hour effective November 6th at maximum probation. Questions?
Maximum probation being 52 weeks.
52 weeks, yes.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
You do.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint part-time police officer Michael Coleman at a rate of $21.35, step 1 of PDA contract with maximum probation.
Is the chief still here?
Yes.
He is.
Has a full background check been made?
Just have one item missing, but right now, I think you guys got my memo that I presented this morning, and that's where we stand.
It was just reiterating the initial
Okay. All right. So you approve of,
No, I don't approve any of these.
okay.
Do I have a motion to approve Michael Coleman?
With the 52-week,
Correct, with the full, that's right here, yep, with maximum probation.
so moved.
Do I have a second?
You do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to appoint part-time police officer Kyle Kruscher at 21 to 35, step 1 of PDA contract with a maximum probation period. That's the next one here. And that is pending the approval of the Orange County for his credits. that we sent him on.
Is this the gentleman you spoke with?
Yeah.
I'll move it pending the receipt of the
Mhm.
additional information.
I agree.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to appoint part-time dispatcher Jonathan Machado at $12 an hour with maximum probation.
You have the motion?
One second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any motion to approve the completion of probation for Officer Peter Boutros, effective 10/7/14?
So moved. For
Second.
recognized. Do we?
Yeah,
I mean,
second, all, I know, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's done,
Yeah. If
but we
don't
have
do
we have to do it anyway as procedure.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to approve the completion of probation dispatch, Brandon Hill.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the bills and claims for the year 14-15 at $21,824.95.
I'll move for discussion.
Okay. Oh, wait a second, just
Okay,
discussion.
there was just one bill that I think had, we no longer have a line to cover it.
What's that?
It's bottled water, the one at the
Oh,
departments.
that's right. That's, remember, yeah, that's not, that's been turned down.
Okay,
Um,
so we can take that out?
With that exception, because I don't know if we have a line to.
Is Ed right there?
cover it.
Yeah,
We're taking out bottled water, Ed. Don't pay it.
Which item is it?
Charlie?
Oh, it's, I don't have the
Right here. Is that it?
If they,
43,
4117?
Poland Springs, $41.17.
no,
Line settle 900394.
if there's an
We'll
issue,
show it to you.
if there, what's the total?
So $41.
Yeah, just, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so approving it with that exception. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Uh, Water rates. I'd like a motion to increase the water rates from 4.29 to 4.63 per thousand, which is an average increase of $20 per bill. Which would, between the village and the outside water customers, would net the village approximately $50,000 for the year. What we don't have is any reserves, any money set aside for fixing of the plant, any money set aside for the continuous breakdown of infrastructure that's occurring now. Not this year, but the last couple of years, we're 30 to 50 years into a system that we haven't maintained. Basically, when a break comes, we fix it, and we hope there's not another break. So we haven't gone out and said, we're taking this section of the village and replacing the pipe, because it's been there for 30 years. We've never put the money aside for it, and it needs to happen. There's so many different pieces that need to fall in place, and we have no money set aside. We don't want to go into another $1 million, $2, $3 million of debt, because then we're just paying off the interest, and your taxes are still going up. We don't want that. We want to properly set aside the money year by year, so that we can increase a plant that is near capacity. We are looking at more customers in the fort, which that's what we're here for, to service this town. And we're at a point where we need to be cautious about adding any more customers. So we need to set money aside now to do that. Al, did you want to add anything as far as the water? Al Fusco is here, he's our engineer.
Well, I think one of the things that's critical is that you do need to have the infrastructure upgraded, and to do that, you need to have some reserves set aside. One of the things, while you were reading that, I was looking at it, and you are a small community water system, so there are some grants available that I'm gonna look at for you. And in addition to that, of course, there's the Environmental Facility Corporations, which are low-interest loans, zero-interest loans, and I think that between the combination of these, that we can come up with a plan, and that's what we need is a plan. So
Exactly.
we'll work that out together and we'll look at the rate structure into the future.
Thank you.
And the water, every year, as long as I've been here, we borrowed money from sewer to pay water because there's been a deficit, which says to me that our rates are too low, and believe me, we really appreciate the cheap water rates, but you become quite apparent when you read what our rates, the water costs compared to everybody else in the county. We're, on a scale from 1 to 10, we're at 2, we're at the bottom. And it's just not funding, it's not standing on its own 2 feet. We're always at a deficit. It's just not paying for itself. Nobody wants to raise the rates, but it's just not working at the rates we're currently charging, so they gotta come up somewhat. We're gonna try to make it as painless as possible, but the plan is to no longer continue to borrow from another fund to offset the deficit of water. And that's where we're at, so that's what we need to do. We need to raise the rate a little bit. We're thinking about, I am personally, is leave the fee the same.
Yes.
So you're not paying.
The base
the
rate.
base rate, because that's already higher than most places. But our water rates are substantially lower than most places throughout the county. So we're talking about bringing those rates up a little bit to maybe offset some of this deficit we're currently having, and then we'll look into seeing if it's gonna be solvent. And that's where we're at here. This is a tough decision on water, and it's one that we have to make.
Now, earlier, we had talked about doing incremental steps, but what we had been talking about actually would be taking the 1,000-gallon billing from about $4.30 and just bringing it up to $4.46, which doesn't begin to develop any kind of a fund. As much as I was leaning in that smaller incremental steps, I think the suggestion made earlier to increase to $4.63 will be a better strategic move at this point. And then hopefully, if we do have to do any additional increments later on, it'll be very small. But I would stress to my colleagues up here that at the same time that we increase the water, we've got to adjust the sewer, because the sewer impact would cost much more. So that's gotta be scheduled.
And that's one thing we are doing. We're between now and the next water billing cycle, we're going to aggressively begin now and do 2 different studies. One study for water, one for sewer, so that the maximum amount of information can get to the public. Where's the money going? What is it needed for? Why are we raising it? Why didn't you lower it? Why aren't you lowering the sewer? We are looking to lower the sewer when it's possible. Right now we had a nice fund balance in the sewer. Instead of going into debt when there was a major problem here in the village, we utilized that money along with some money from another fund, and we're able to pay off this huge bill without going into debt. And again, just so we're aware, water, 0 fund balance. Sewer, now, the exception of what comes this year, 0 fund balance, because we used it to pay this. We don't want to go into debt. We've been going into debt for years, and it's affecting our tax rate. We're paying over 7% of our taxes just on debt. Yes.
Well, it's important to remember that the New York State Controller's audit had pointed out the fact that the one fund was lending to the other fund, and we were heavily chastised for doing that for so many years. So, I mean, no one likes, the increase in taxes, but it's an unfortunate reality of the system of what we have to do to be prudent and to be fiscally responsible. So, I mean, I think it's taking a direct point that was brought up by the New York State Controller's Office in their report and seeking to remedy it responsibly. So, I certainly, no one wants to be the bearer of the bad news of the tax increase, but it had to be done. And so I applaud the board for taking that on and having the courage to do so responsibly.
Well,
Thank you.
this is a fee, and to a certain extent, we do have some control. Beyond the base, which we are not changing, the additional 1,000 gallons of usage, you know, you can be more cautious and conserve water and maintain a lower rate. But as much as I don't want to do this, it's a necessity.
And as I said, we're gonna aggressively pursue both reports, have them available to the public as soon as we have them available, to let you know the direction we're going in, and to let you know about our long-term goals, which we've been working with our department heads for quite some time, as far as our 5, 10, and 20-year goals, and where we need to be, and the money we're gonna need to have to get there. And Al will be helping us out on that with a lot of grants.
I wanted to just say one thing. I had looked at some water rates pending, looking at the water and sewer department rates together for the future. And as you know, Trustee Valen had said, you're at the scale of 2 and 1 to 10, but
I
you
think
know,
there are only 3
the rates,
lower.
the rates are up there at $6 to $7 per thousand, and they're still, you know,
Right.
bunkering way down there. So it is
Yeah,
a
actually,
reasonable commodity.
I think Cornwall is at $8.56, so.
We're half of Cornwall, just to give you guys an understanding where we are. You're like, oh my God, the water rates. We are half of what Cornwall is charging their people for the same water. We've got better water, I'm told. Okay, same thing. They're paying double the amount we're paying. We don't want to double it today, but we need to make sure that we'll be here tomorrow. So with that, do I have a motion to increase the rates from 4.29 to 4.60 per thousand, or what rates? Does a motion?
Do you have that chart? I did.
Oh,
Pat,
6.3.
Yes, 6.3. 4.29 to 4.63 per thousand.
Yeah, that's,
Yep.
yes. I just wanted to make sure, because that's the
Excellent.
number that I remember, and I'm looking at that now, and yes,
So do I have a motion?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I will second it.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Public comment.
You spoke about a study for the water and the sewer, so you could increase the rates to what you need to. Is that study prepared yet, or are you just,
As I said, we're gonna start the study. There's been basic numbers put to us now, which have been gathered over the last couple of weeks. A study, unless we're going to, there was a study proposed that our engineer could have done for, that we'd have to pay for it, because it costs money.
okay, so you're basing,
But the reason why we didn't do that immediately is that we feel that we can do a majority of the work between our department head of water and department of sewer, our treasurer, and our own in-house, and then have Mr. Fusco look at it, and it will cost us a lot less in his fees. And we have all the information here. We can't put it together like that. So what we are doing is we're starting now to put this together for the next cycle.
so the increase that you just approved is based on what you feel you need to operate for the next 6 months?
Correct.
Okay. And during the comments, water contracts were mentioned. I believe the contract that the village has is with the town for water users outside of the village. Maybe I'm reading into this, but I get the impression that you are looking as a board at increasing those rates or negotiating an increase in those rates. I just would like to remind you, and I'm sure you're very well aware of it, that the residents outside of the village, meaning the Fort Montgomery water users, are already paying 50% more for the same gallon of water, the same treated gallon of water that the village residents are paying for. And just to keep that in mind.
Just so you know, that was something that was brought up in discussion. We are not moving on that at this time.
Good.
But to give you an idea, again, when we talk about Cornwall charging twice as much as we're charging now, other towns and villages in our county are charging outside water users 2 and 3 times the amount. And that's standard, and they're happy to get the water. Understand that, yes, outside users are paying 150% more, but the villagers have bear the burden of building this system and paying the taxes and paying the debt that these taxes have gone for many, many years. So just understand, it's not like, oh, we have the opportunity to take advantage of Fort Montgomery. Definitely not. Just like our rates are one of the lowest in the county, our outside user rates are one of the lowest in the county.
Well, actually, your rate should be based on your need, not what the rest of the counties do.
No, when we have a deficit, you know that, June. since
No,
you-
and I'm just saying,
And
it's
we're just trying to fill that
difficult to
void
compare it
financially.
with Cornwall, because Cornwall's system might be larger, they might have more employees. You need to base it on this system that you're working with.
We are basing it on the system, we're basing it on the fact that we have no money. Because no money has been set aside over the last 20 years to do the needed upgrades, to do the needed improvements, not only to the plant, but to our infrastructure. Nothing has been set aside. Not only has nothing been set aside, we're borrowing every year, and then after we pay it back, we'll look in the fund, there's nothing there. So we are operating at a deficit every year.
That's the void we're trying to fill currently.
No, and that's.
And you're asking
what
what
I'm
kind of
saying.
study? I have no problem paying $10,000 so that there is a study this thick that 8 people are gonna actually read through and understand exactly what's going on, if that's what people want.
Well, I didn't think that's what you're talking about the last time you had a meeting. I thought you were just going to get the information from,
That's what we're doing.
yes, your department head, your treasurer.
But if you want
or
something,
else.
that to me is not answering your question. Because you're looking for something more in-depth, more, basically, we gave you the information of, we have no money. If you want a number, I've been given the number of $3 million. $3 million to improve our plant to where it needs to be. That's the number I was gotten from professional engineers. So if you want a number of where we need to go, 3 million. When? 10 years. Divide it up, so we need an extra $300,000 a year. I can't raise the water rates for $300,000 a year, but I would like to come somewhat closer, so we borrow less, and that's just upgrading the plant. That's not meeting the needs of the failing infrastructure, which, as Mr. Fusco pointed out, it's not fixing the leaks, which, just so we know, there are 2 major leaks and 1 minor leak today. It's happening now. It's because of the time. Mr. Fusco pointed out, we actually have to plan sections of the village. Whether you fix this little line or not, that section needs to be replaced, so that we have another 20 to 30 years out of that section. Let alone the sections that never really had a real system, like down towards Ondiora and Sadley and Cragston, thank you. Okay, those systems are never been up to snuff.
All right, so we don't hold the meeting up any longer.
That's all
I am not quite, I said study because you said study. I'm not looking to spend a lot of money on studies. I was just using the word that you used, but apparently we misunderstood, there was miscommunication. All I'm saying is that when you're looking for ways to increase money, just remember that the residents of Fort Montgomery are already paying 50% more for that same treated gallon of water.
We're aware of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion?
Actually, maybe Mr. Magruder could answer this one. On the parking meter tickets, not the, you know, the speeding meters, but when, if you get a ticket for that and you pay it, what line item does that money go towards? Does that go into the parking meter line item?
Fines, meter, I think it's called fines, and, I'd have to pull it up, but something fines. While you're talking, I'll look for it.
Okay, and then, back in July, Mayor Quinn, you had said, when I asked the question about consolidation, you had said that, it was gonna, you were working on the DPW, and then it was gonna be planning, and it was gonna
No.
be. That's what you had
Do you-
said.
Okay,
That
planning was
had
already, planning was already set before I became mayor
Right,
for the discussions to start in 2015.
right, but that's how you said the order was
Okay.
going, and that you were doing one department at a time. So
Mhm.
if you're beginning to talk about police, where does DPW stand right now, as far as the consolidation?
We're working on DPW, we had some openings to move police forward, so we're doing that.
So, okay, so.
Working on
that's
both
just-
still.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Okay, for those people that are looking for information, like where the money goes for a fine, it'll be a lot more effective to call the village prior to, because you can get that information right then. And then if you want it at the meeting, this way we'll have it available. Some of this information isn't readily available to pull out of the air. So if you do know ahead of time that you want information and you want it at the meeting, please feel free to call and let us know, so that information's available for you. Because again, we want to try and get out as much information as possible. Any other comments?
The center now has our number for nonprofit.
Congratulations.
Now, Ann Molina did the work, I did the work. The other one, Mary Jane, has done nice work reminding people that schools are open. And Cousins in church, you know, they put the stripes in today. This morning we were walking across we call them the little ones. Cars are going through. I was wondering if you could just put something in there to remind people that when someone is in the crosswalk, they have to stop, because the law says that if a child and the mother are in the crosswalk, you can't go the other half, or if you're walking an animal. Now, I was gonna do stick figures, but I figured that would be just too trite. But they really gotta slow down. They can't be shooting down by Holy Angels or by the public school bus stops. Somebody's gonna get hurt. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comment? At this time, I would like to thank everyone for joining us. We are going to, I need a motion to move an executive session to discuss police consolidation with the town board members and contractual negotiations. A reminder, the next board meeting is November 3rd, Monday, at 7 p.m. Our website, highlandfallsny.org, a lot of great information. Please feel free to visit. Thank you once again, have a great night.
Did we get
Well,
a mo- we didn't get
I need a
the-
motion.
To talk
Thank you.
contracts.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
I
Opposed? So moved. Thank you very much. Oh, before I break, no, we're okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, Rob. Just so you guys are aware, we're meeting with the town and we're also meeting with, Robert, I don't know.
Rokel.
Thank you, Rob. Robert Rokel from the Department of State, we also invited down to make sure that the process that we're taking on consolidation is done effectively and efficiently and the right way. And I just want to thank you so much for coming down. Not an easy trip.
No.
Thank you. Did you have anything else, Alan? Excellent, thank you so much, I appreciate you. We're gonna have to,